Hey guys, it's Cream, aka Miss Cream of the Crop. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Cream, featuring Spotlight on Black-owned brands. Today's featured entrepreneur is Gabriel Powell. I'm so excited. She's an author, and the name of her book that we're going to be discussing today is Corporate Stripper. So right after this intro, I'm going to bring Gabriel on the line. She's going to tell you guys who she is and what she's all about. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we're back, and I have Gabriel on the line. Gabriel, how are you this afternoon?
I am doing good, Miss Cream of the Crop. How are you?
I'm amazing. So before we get into everything, I just want to say thank you so much for being my guest today and taking time out of your day to just sit down with me virtually to talk about you and your book.
Seriously, thank you for having me. Like I said, I love your team. I'm excited to be here today. And, yes, I am excited to talk about Corporate Stripper.
Yes. So before we get into Corporate Stripper and all things, because on Instagram your name is Yurie Baby. So we're going to talk about Yurie Baby, Corporate Stripper. But now we want to know, who is Gabriel? Let's talk about Gabriel Powell right now. So who is Gabriel for our listeners out there?
So there is two different versions of me. One is Gabriel Powell and one is Yurie Powell. Gabriel is very short-tempered. She just likes to be alone with her family on holidays, like in the wintertime, just like to be up under the blanket, drinking hot chocolate or tea, watching movies. That's Gabriel. Like, through and through. Love my friends so much. We'll go to bat for them, like, through and through. Okay, that's Gabriel. And honestly, I do feel like when I think about myself, Gabriel, I'm just like, dang, like, there is a different version of me, which is Yurie, which is why I created that whole persona and profile, because Yurie is much wilder. Yurie is more fun, way more let go, flowy in the air, whatever it is, how it is. I feel like when I'm being Gabriel Powell, like, everything is serious. I'm an accountant, I'm a mother, I'm a wife. I'm just, like, super serious. Like, I have to get this screen done. I have to cast this show. It's so serious. And Yurie is just so much more fun. I like being Yurie.
It sounds like I could be friends with both of them, because Gabriel sounds like someone that I want to hang out with, because I'm always so busy, but I'm always like, I can't wait until fall comes. I love when it's cold, and I'm a winter baby because I was born on Christmas Eve, so I'm all about snow. I love blankets. Like, I love cozy stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes. That's where our inner souls are touching right now.
Absolutely. And I think one of the other reasons that I love that so much is that I don't really get a chance to cozy up as much. I mean, with the pandemic, that did help a lot. It helped me to settle down a lot more because I was always on the go. So I have had more cozy moments than I've had in the past. So has the pandemic helped you have more cozy moments than you probably had in the past as well?
Most definitely. Just my kids and my husband, like, being able to simply enjoy them. Like, when you have a kid, and like you said, you're always on the go. I'm mom first. I'm Gabriel first before anybody. So I'm making sure I'm dropping the kids off. I'm making sure I'm going to the gym at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, making sure I get into the office at 9 a.m., making sure the managers are here, sitting down, doing what they need to do. The staff is on, like, I'm always on the go. So the moment I actually got to be at home, even like when I gave birth to my daughter's 4, she's been in daycare since she's been born, because we've been busy, me and my husband. So, and the same with my son. He's 11. He's been in daycare since he's been born. Like, that's just how it goes. So the pandemic, I really sat down and I got to know my kids. Yeah. And I know my daughter is a crazy person. My daughter is a crazy person.
Your daughter is Yurie.
Yes, my daughter is Yurie and her father mixed together, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this is a lot to deal with. Like, if this is what people are dealing with for me, why are you being weird to me? I get it.
Why are you being weird to me?
Yes. I get it because, dang, it's a lot to deal with sometimes.
Yes,
But
yes.
definitely really brought my family together, brought me closer to my husband. I honestly felt like me and my husband was on the verge of separating, and I do honestly believe because the pandemic forced us to be in the house together, forced us to talk our problems out, forced us to deal with each other, we fell back in love all over again. And
I love
I'm
that.
just not thankful COVID happened, but I am thankful it saved my family and my marriage and me getting to know my kids.
You know what's crazy? Every single interview that I've had during the pandemic, we're not out of it yet, but even after everything opened back up, something that I've said in almost every interview is that the pandemic is the best, worst thing that ever happened to us.
Yes.
It's been the worst because people have died, people have gotten sick. People have lost businesses and money and different things like that. But I think one of the best things about it is it allowed a lot of us to put our life into perspective. It allowed people to no longer be afraid to go after what they want. So a lot of people became entrepreneurs during this time because they really realized how much they missed, as far as like you were saying with your children growing up. A lot of people realized they didn't know their family. They didn't know their significant others. And for me, this whole year and a half has been the longest time that I have spent at my house. This is the longest time. My youngest daughter is homeschooled, so she was traveling a lot with me over the past couple of years. But as far as just being at home and sitting still and not leaving my city, this is the longest I've never gone anywhere, ever. And at first it was weird, but then after a while I was like, this feels kind of good because a lot of the stuff that I like doing, like, a lot of people don't think that I'm like this very domestic person, but I really am. Like, I love cooking, I love decorating, like stuff like that. And I just never really had time to do as much of that, as I used to. It would only be around like holiday time. Like, I was like, okay, holiday time, I am cooking. But now it's like, I can cook every day if I want to, instead of just like waiting until holiday time. So,
and I love that. I love that.
Yes.
It made us appreciate the little things that we completely ignore because we just feel like we're so used to it. We're used to Thanksgiving. We're used to certain things, so we just don't even appreciate it. Now, when Thanksgiving coming around, or you cook on the weekend, it's like, oh, okay, like it's a good feeling. It's like you're doing something special with your family. It's like bonding. Bonding is special. It's beautiful.
It is.
It really is.
It is. And one of the things that I used to do all the time with my kids is like whenever I would go out of town, I would write all of them notes and just say, hey, they always knew I was going out of town, but I just always wanted them to have something of me just in case, and I would write the little notes and put it in their room, somewhere where I knew they would see it, because I like to fly out at like 5, 6 in the morning when everyone's asleep. I'm that person. But just now it's just like being able to really just spend all the time with them that I missed. Like, I used to spend time when they were little, but in the middle years it was just like I was on the go and they were used to that. So now I'm just doing more stuff like family stuff. So like you said, like the pandemic, it was like the best, worst thing that happened. So I know, you know what I mean? So I know that you talked about the fact that you have a team, you have a business. So how did you remain optimistic during the pandemic as an entrepreneur? Because a lot of people got discouraged, which makes a lot of sense because a lot of us lost money during the pandemic. But how did you remain optimistic during the pandemic as an entrepreneur?
So my background is accounting. So I went to school for accounting at Wayne State University, downtown Detroit. And my husband also went to U of M Ann Arbor, Wayne State, Detroit. So our background together is accounting. He's a CPA, financial advisor. I'm an accountant. So during the pandemic, right before it happened, I was like, no one's going to know what to do with their taxes in 2021. And when that happened, my husband was like, you're right. Let's start marketing now. So we just got on. Like, I've been outside of being accounting and stuff, I also am like a crazy marketer. Like I go nuts online, like I post crazy videos, I do all the challenges, so I know how to get people's attention. So once I realized what I needed to do, I just did it. And then I got all the attention. He did his end. Like teamwork gets the dream done, period.
Yes.
I did my part on the marketing side. He did his part on the financial and Google side of things, of making sure we're online, making sure everything is where it needs to be so people can find us easily, submit their information easily. Like all the transactions that needed to be done on the administration side, it's easy for our clients to upload and contact us and get things done over online. And next thing you know, our line did not stop ringing for 6 months straight. 6 months straight, everybody called, made appointments because they needed so much help. It was just and still now it's so complicated. It really is, especially these businesses that are getting all these loans and these grants, and, you know, they're paying out their 1099s, they're paying out all their information. And a lot of times we're amending returns and fixing what happened prior to them coming to us and making sure everything's right going forward. So we did good during the pandemic in the CPA firm, but my sports nutrition company is another company I have, and it did awful because I work with youth athletes. So I feed youth athletes pre-workout bars, recovery bars, and just at the time prior to COVID, it was healthy snacks, like actual hot meals that they could eat. And I would talk to them about their nutrition and explain to them why they're eating what they're eating. And that sunk tremendously because no one was in school. I tried to keep that afloat with, you know, going online and virtually talking to the kids, but it's not the same effect. It's really not when you're trying to sell a product to 300 students. It's not the same. So that business did awful, honestly. It did awful. Like, we was able to keep afloat. I did a lot of community stuff with that business because I was not able to go to the schools like I used to. So we did a lot of community things. And during the pandemic, that company actually did get a Spirit of Detroit Award for going in the community and feeding so many people during that time, just giving food back to the elderly, giving food to the homeless, with the politicians and things like that. So brand-wise, it did good. Equity and revenue, it did bad. Other stuff did good.
Yeah, that's amazing, though, because one of the things that I like to talk about as well with a lot of my entrepreneurs during this time is learning how to pivot. So although your brand started out as one thing with the students, you learned how to pivot it into something else, and you were rewarded for that. And a lot of times as an entrepreneur, we have to understand the differences in return on investment. A lot of times people think your ROI is always going to be monetary, but your return on your investment was getting the Spirit of Detroit Award, being recognized, which in turn down the line will turn into funds, but it may not have been funds during the pandemic, but you still fulfilled the need in the community. You found a way to pivot your business into something else while still doing what you enjoy. So I think that that's very commendable for you guys, that you didn't just say, you know what, I'm just going to give it up. And that also reflects on you as an entrepreneur and shows that you're doing what you actually love to do.
Yes, I do. And thank you for that, because no one's ever recognized it in that way. I do love what I do. Nutrition. I love talking to these kids about being healthy, what to eat, and that's the main reason I did it. Even the elderly, like, I talk to everyone. I will talk to you about it forever. This whole interview will be about it. But, yes, I do. I genuinely love just helping people figure out, because I know that when you eat better, mentally you feel better, physically you feel better, your blood flows to your body properly. I understand the science behind it, so that's why I enjoy it, because I reached happiness I tried to find happiness in so many different ways. I tried to write, I tried to graduate, run a marathon, have kids, get married. I tried all these different things. And the one thing that always kind of came back to me throughout my life is eating healthy. Every time I ate healthy, I felt better, just emotionally, physically. So eating healthy has helped me so much in my life. And, yes, I'm very passionate about it.
Yes, I can tell. And I agree, because I have certain health things that I'm going through that's, you know, it's just something that, it wasn't something that happened to me because of something. It's just something that I didn't, a lot of times no one else in your family, they'll say, oh, tell us about your family. Does diabetes run in your family? Da, da, da. But a lot of times you might be that one-off person that has something that you don't even know was passed down to you because no one that immediately has it. But it's like from generation to generation.
Very true.
Exactly. So that's pretty much what happened to me. And none of the medicines and treatments and infusions and all this stuff that the doctors were giving me really helped me feel better. But I realized that I had to change some of the foods that I was eating. And the weird thing about that is just like I've never, even when I was a kid, like a lot of people now are like, oh, I don't eat red meat. When I was a kid, I never was a meat eater. I was the kid that actually wanted my vegetables. My sister was the one that did, like, I would give my sister my meat and my sister would give me her vegetables. Like, I was that kid. But the thing about it is that I didn't realize that for some people, certain vegetables are actually can make you sick. Because everyone's like, eat your vegetables, but not really understanding that some foods do certain things to certain people, and you have to really pay attention to how you feel when you eat this and how you feel when you eat that. And I realized that foods that I thought were really good for me because they were vegetables, they were making me sick. And I couldn't understand, like, why do I keep getting sick? Like, I'm working out, I'm doing all these things, and I'm getting sick, and I'm swelling up. But I realized that you really do have to eat to live, and you really have to do your research. And I learned what worked for me, and ever since I learned what worked for me and what I needed to take out of my diet, even if it was a vegetable, it's like, okay, this vegetable doesn't work for me, but this one does. I feel so much better. I was in and out of the hospital, and I couldn't understand. I was just like, what? I was so frustrated. But the crazy thing is like through my own research, and I think doctors now, because of social media,
it really is.
We're demanding. Yeah, I think now that doctors are realizing that we have so much information at our fingertips, they're starting to jump on board with giving us information. But the whole time that I was sick, it was just like, oh, let's try this medicine, let's try this medicine. They were giving me medicines that you give to people that were cancer patients going through chemo, and it was literally just killing my body. And, and I literally was like, okay, one day I was like, I'm tired of doing this. And I just kept doing my research, and I was going to different, like seminars and stuff. And I just found out, like, if you drink, and I've always been that person who's been like bougie about my water, but I just found out if you drink this type of water, if you change this vegetable to this vegetable, these vegetables will cause this, da 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 da. No, like, start these certain starches. Once I learned what I should and shouldn't eat, I haven't been in the hospital in a long time. Like, I still have to give my take one medicine, but I feel amazing. So I totally understand. I feel,
and I've preached that so many times. Like, prior to me working with youth athletes, I was working with like just normal clients that had like diabetes or sickle cell or just things that was wrong with them that food would actually help them feel better, where they can take less medication. And I realized, like, when every person is different, so I would take their macros for them and count their carbohydrates, their proteins, their fats, and figure out how much they're supposed to have to get their body fat percentage down. But they're right, like you said, certain vegetables, some people might be allergic to citrus, like they can't eat anything with citrus in it then. No lemons, no cilantro, no oranges, no anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, but when you do find that perfect holistic food that comes from the earth to put in your body, our body is literally like a plant and like a flower. Like, we have to give it sun, water, and food. We really do. Like, if we don't, if you don't get enough sun, your body starts to literally lose vitamin D. And when you don't have vitamin D, it affects other things in your body that malfunction. So it is so important. I'm so happy you did your own research, and I'm so happy you're feeling better because you look amazing.
Thank you, because literally it really did take me to research on my own. Like, I even researched, like, the medicine that I was switched to. It was just one injection. I found out about that on my own too. And when I brought it to my doctor at that time, he was like, oh, well, I'm just going to have to refer you to a different doctor. I knew all about that medicine. I just don't prescribe those.
Of course. Meaning more money, more doctors. Like, sometimes I hate doctors.
The thing about it is that you knew what could make me feel better faster, but because he's like, yeah, I don't really believe in biologics, so I'd never prescribe those. But how could you make that choice for me?
Exactly.
And as soon as he referred me to the new doctor and she started me on a new regimen, I felt better. And then I kept doing my research and finding out what foods I should and shouldn't eat. I felt even more better. Like, I felt even better. It's just like, so I just think that it's amazing that that's something that you're passionate about and that you didn't allow, like, the fact that the pandemic happened and it took away from your funds, that you didn't allow that to say, I'm not going to do this now. So that's one of the ways a lot of times people always try to figure out what they're passionate about. So people are like, well, how do I start a business? And people say, well, go with what you're passionate about. And people are just like, okay, well, how do I find out what I'm passionate about? Well, really, it's as simple as, would you do this if you didn't make money? Would you still be interested in
what would
doing
you do for free?
Exactly.
What would you do for free?
That's how you know what you're passionate about.
You can wake up and you do it for free, and if you don't get anything back in return, would you be upset? That's not your passion, then.
Exactly. So now, we talked about all the things that you do. Like, you're a Miss Cream of the Crop too. You have all these things. So, but what brought you here to this interview, which is really cool that you have all these entrepreneurial endeavors, because I really like talking about entrepreneurship. But one of the things that brought you to this interview was your book that you wrote. It's called Corporate Stripper. So let's just get right into it, because I know people are like, corporate stripper. And okay, wait, before I say what I want to say, before I say what I want to say, what is a corporate stripper? Let's get there. Let's say that first. What is a corporate stripper?
Let's get that clear, because so everyone assumes I'm a stripper. Everyone. They just assume I'm a stripper because the book is Corporate Stripper. So I was a stripper between the ages of 13 and 24. I was
13?
Stripping. Yes, 13 and 24. I was a stripper.
Wow.
Within that time frame, I also sold pills, and I also did other things, like tried to start businesses. Like I was a serial entrepreneur in the streets. Like I tried to start multiple street ghetto businesses that did not work out, which is how I ended up as an accountant and an author, because I figured, okay, something got to work. But so a corporate stripper is a woman or a young lady or male that has lived in the streets and have actually danced in the dance community as an exotic dancer, and actually went to college. Every stripper say you're going to college. Actually went to college, graduated, worked as a professional in corporate America, okay? Or is in corporate America with a business. Like you're actually in corporate America with a business, literally going forth and forth with the corporate giants. Literally. That's what me and my husband do. That's what I do. That's what I did prior to me even leaving my job as an accountant. I was serving and trading $50 million trades twice a week, doing $100 million. So if you're corporate in that way and you're seeing things in that way, you're really seeing corporate America for what it is, you are a corporate stripper. Period. If you are an entrepreneur and you have taken your negative past and your crazy past into corporate America and you try to make things right, you are a corporate stripper. That's what corporate stripper means. Going from nothing to corporate.
Right.
And figuring out corporate that ain't for you either.
Exactly.
Stripping wasn't for me in corporate America is not for me unless I'm running my own corporate business.
All right. Well, I love that. Because I was going to say, I was just figuring like a corporate stripper that makes sense. But I was thinking like a lot of people, like you said, that probably see the title of your book, like, oh, she's a stripper. And, a lot of times people try to, no, because if I say what I want to say, it's going to mess up one of my questions. We'll talk about that when you answer my question for me. So, so I was going to ask you if your book was based on your true story. So you said that it's kind of sort of based loosely on your life.
Nope, this is an autobiography. Everything that has happened in here has happened to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
inspired you? What inspired you to put your life in the book? Because a lot of people don't want to be transparent. So clearly, if everything in your book is about your life, you were willing to be transparent. So what inspired you to write this book? Besides your life, what inspired you?
I just was so hurt. I was so hurt and so, like, I was in pain. I just simply was in pain. And I was looking for happiness. I was looking for happiness through my marriage. I was looking for happiness through my degrees. I was looking for happiness through my children. I was looking for happiness within myself. I just wanted to be happy. And, I mean, I felt like I never was healed from never having my family, never having my mom or dad really even give a shit about me. Like, I just was hurt, and it carried throughout my adulthood. And, you know, I tried to make things right. Like, I tried to, you know, have a relationship with my family. I tried to have a relationship with my father. I tried to have a relationship with my mom, which is actually working out for the better now, and I'm very happy about that. Like, me and my mom are, thank you, we're trying, and I hope she continues to try. I hope she does. But so just from, like, that trauma, I never healed from it. And then on top of that trauma was the trauma I dealt with when I was in the streets, just the negativity. People always telling me I'm never going to be anything, or treating me like I'm never going to be anything, and literally put their heel into my neck. It's like I didn't know where to put the pain. I tried to put the pain in so many places, and it didn't work. So I was like, I got to get it out. And nobody wants to, my father doesn't want to make things work. I mean, it's not really much healing I can do from the streets besides graduating and, like when I ran for a marathon and I trained myself, I literally trained myself so I can run the old version of me off me. That's what I thought I was doing mentally. That's what I told myself. If I run 26 miles, eventually the old version of me that is in so much pain will disappear. That's how I felt. So that's why I did that. And it didn't. She did it. She was still there after all of that. So one day I just got tired. Like, after the last argument I had with my family, one of my cousins I thought I was really close with, like, she sent her friends to, like, fight me. We fought. My dad, he stopped talking to me. My cousins, we were arguing on social media. Like, it was awful. So I'm like, you know what? Since no one's going to listen to me, I'm going to write a book. Because I'm hurting. I'm in pain. And I don't know what to do with this anger. And I don't want to keep fighting. I don't want to keep arguing. I just want to be happy for my kids. That's how I felt. And I just started crying and writing until I start smiling every day like this. And I have not stopped smiling since I ended chapter 19. And even writing the second book of American Wife, going through the process of after my marriage and so forth, I still don't feel the way I felt after writing this book. This book has saved me. Like, I have even apologized to my husband for expecting so much from him, because I did not know that a marriage is like a real partnership, to the point where he's not supposed to make you feel fulfilled. You're supposed to feel fulfilled prior to you getting married.
I was going to say, you have to be fulfilled before you meet that person. And then when, like, he should be complete, you should be complete, and you guys come together and be
100,000% together.
Exactly. Yes. But I think that it's amazing that it sounds like you and your husband really were meant to be together, because there's so many opportunities for you guys to leave one another. There's so many opportunities for him to leave you. And you wrote the book, and that helped you overcome some of your traumas and your demons that you were trying to run away from. And then the pandemic happened, and you guys were on the verge of, like, not even being together anymore. You guys found love again. So there's so many gems that people can take away from this interview as far as, like, pivoting as an entrepreneur, overcoming trauma, healing, and learning to find who you are, learning to find your passion. So for you and your husband, do you guys go to therapy, or did you guys just do all this work together by yourselves without the help of therapy services?
We definitely did not do any therapy because we couldn't afford it. But so because we are overachievers and we don't, like, when I first met my husband, I felt like he was a gift to me, because I've been through so much, and everybody I met prior to him just was like, you're nothing. You're nothing, and I'm going to treat you like shit. That's how everybody treated me. And my husband was the first person or first man to be like, you're in school for accounting? That's awesome. Wow. Oh, you want to be a tax lawyer? That's amazing. Like, he was, like, so excited for the things I wanted to do in my life, and nobody ever was. Everyone was like, no, make sure you go drive 6 hours to go sell pills. Make sure you go strip. Make sure you, like, it was like no one ever encouraged me to do the things I really wanted to do, like, that I knew I would enjoy when I'm 40 years old. You know, like, no one encouraged that stuff. So when he encouraged it, it intrigued me, and I was like, man, like, you're kind of special. Like, no one talks to me like this. And then I was in school for accounting, and he was in his master's program for accounting and working as an accountant for the city of Detroit with his mother. It was like I felt like we were meant to be because I was struggling in accounting, and he was an accounting guru already. Like, you know, like he knew it through and through. So he was like, I can help you. He's like, I can help you, no problem. He's like, you need help with accounting? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I can help you. I tutor accounting students all the time. And I was like, oh, this is going to work out great. And then we just started doing. So I do feel like my husband is a gift to me. So I do try to make things work with him. Like, I do try to make things work even when we are at our lowest point. And he also feels the same for me because a lot of people don't get him and don't understand him. And a lot of people can't deal with an overachiever or someone that just wants to win all the time. They're very aggressive. They're very intimidating, and they're mean.
Yeah,
they're mean.
We're not mean, okay? It's not.
That's mean. And I feel like I'm not.
We are not mean. We are just.
Oh, yeah, you're a Capricorn. I already know.
We are just extremely passionate. That is what it's called. It's called extreme passion, and people think that it's mean. But one of the things that I want to say, wait, hold on. Let me get my charger real quick. Hold on, okay?
Okay.
I'm not going to
Remember, don't stand up.
I'm not going to stand up. Okay. See, I remember not to stand up. So what I was going to say was something else that I want to commend you for is just the fact that you and your father don't have the best relationship, and I can only imagine some of the things that happened to you in your life out in the streets as a 13-year-old dancing. And that could really make you have this skewed view of men, and the fact that you allowed your husband to come into your life and for you to trust him enough to appreciate who you are, and the fact that you appreciate what he brings to the table as well. Like, is that something that happened immediately, or is it something that you had to just get over as far as your feelings for men and things that you've gone through in order to appreciate him the way that you do? How did that happen?
I think that, so yeah, my father not being around had a huge part of, obviously, me going into the streets and stuff, because nobody was there to stop me. Nobody was, even when they did try to stop me, they just put me in juvenile and they put me in group homes when they did catch up with me. So, yeah, I always talked to older men. I always talked to men that were so much older than me, like so much older than me, 18 years older than me, 14 years older than me, 7 years older than me. Like, I've always talked to older men, and I always wonder, like, is it because I always longed for that relationship with my father? I don't know, because I've never been to therapy, but I do wonder that sometimes. But to answer your question, yeah, I do think that a lot of things that happened to me prior to meeting my husband, I let go, because I always was that type of person to just go with my gut feeling. And that's how I survived. At 13, living on my own, I slept on slides. I slept on benches. I was homeless. Like, I really was. And I think a lot of things that saved me and put me in the right direction was my gut instinct. Like, if it made me feel like my heart feel heavy, or it just didn't feel right, you know that feeling you have. Like, I followed it. Like, I just went with it. Like, oh, hell no. I'm going this way. Like, I always was like that. So when I met my husband, it was just such a feeling of relief. Like, I don't even know you, but I'm so relieved to know you now. Like, it was kind of that feeling. So I just immediately, like, let my guard down because he was everything I wanted. The emotions I wanted, the feelings I wanted, the love I've been looking for my whole life, it was right here in front of my face. And it was in this human thing was studying accounting. It was like, it was just like, this person is meant to save me. That's how I felt. Like, this person is meant to save me from everything I just went through in my life. Like, this is the moment I've been waiting for. I went through all of that pain, not having anybody for this moment right here.
That's amazing. So you knew, like, this is my person. Like,
no, he was my person, but I kind of did. Like, I didn't know he was meant for me, but I just knew that we were like this. Like, we were like this really quickly. Like, within the first 4 weeks, we were like this. We did everything together. Like, the first 3 months of us hanging out, we just literally hung out. We ate. We went to a restaurant. We didn't like it, but because we just knew each other, we didn't want to complain. And then we got in the car, and he was like, that food was disgusting. And I was like, I'm so happy you said that. I didn't want to complain. And, like, you know how it is when you're dating. Like, you don't really want to complain.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is great. We like to eat the same stuff. This is going to work out great because all I want to do is eat and study and go dance. That's all I want to do, make money and eat and have a boyfriend.
That's amazing. That's so amazing that it happened like that. And I'm glad that you were able to allow yourself to let your guard down enough to realize that this person fit what you needed or filled exactly what you needed. And I think that it's amazing that he wasn't judgmental as far as what you were doing in your background and where you came from, because he probably would have missed out on his blessing and his person. And even though a lot of people, and they, I know it sounds corny when people say, oh, another person's trash, another person's treasure, but literally there were people who didn't value you, and he's just like, what? You are everything. Like, I think that's so amazing.
Yes, that's exactly. He was like, they're crazy. I was like, really? Looking at me? Are you sure? Are you sure you think this nice things of me? Like, that's how it was. I was so like, no, I'm not this person you're saying. It was like, I didn't believe it. I didn't even believe it because even though I was doing great things, like, I didn't believe in me. I just did them because I was hoping it would make me feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so amazing. And that truly, when people say what's meant for you is meant for you, it really is meant for you because in spite of everything you've been through, he's just like, girl, I see you. I see your potential. I think that's really, really dope. So speaking of seeing your potential, when people just like judging people, judging a book by its cover or judging someone by their past life, what do you feel is the biggest misconception that people have about strippers in the stripper world?
I do feel like, I think every stripper is just like out for blood. Every stripper is like out for blood, like trying to just like, you know, money hungry, sack chasing. Don't get me wrong. It is about 80% strippers that is out for blood, sack chasing, but the other 20% are the ones that are owning real estate and owning businesses and getting married and leaving the strip club or using that money to actually pay off school. Like, there are strippers that are really doing that, but it's not a lot. But there are, and that 20% are the corporate strippers, because those are the women that understand all this money I'm making, I have to reinvest it somewhere because it's just going to go to my boobs, my body, and clothes. That's it.
And you can't dance forever.
No, you cannot. I have seen 50-year-old strippers. They look great. Don't get me wrong. Right. They look in shape. Boobs look nice. Butt's done and stuff, but you're 50 and you have grandkids. And I know your feet hurt. My feet was hurt. Girl, stop playing with me. Get out of here. Exactly. And I think, and this is the question I wanted to ask because I wanted to say this statement. I think a lot of times people really do differentiate corporate strippers from stripping. There are women that are in corporate that do things when they get off work that's no different than
what they think strippers do because strippers dance naked. There are a lot of strippers that really, I don't judge women what they do with their body, how many people you sleep with, whatever you choose to do in your sexual life. But there's a lot of corporate women that have way more sexual encounters than strippers, than some strippers.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of boss women that are in power in our positions that have crazy sex lives, that are my friends. I would never expose them, but they have crazy sex lives. And I'm just like, dang, Jesus. But I get it because, like, you're all, like, I get why the boss woman has a crazy sex life, because we're always in control. We're always bossing people around. We're literally always, like I said, if you're so professional or just on your shit all the time, it does feel good to just let go sometimes.
Exactly.
And someone else be in control. It really does.
Exactly. So when you wrote your book, well, first of all, has any of your family members read your book?
Yes.
So when you wrote your book,
let's do.
Steph was gonna ask, like, what was their reaction like? I know that you didn't have a good relationship with them. Did it make it worse, or did it bring? Is this what brought you and your mom together? Like, how did your book affect your relationship with your family?
So my book on my dad's side. So right before I had my 4-year-old daughter, me and my cousins were like trying to be a family. We were trying because they knew I was never around, but they looked just like me, and we loved that. We were like, oh my God, we look alike. We're really cousins. Like, it was like exciting, you know. You see someone that it's like, you get it, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, like, we're so excited. We're like hanging out around the city and stuff. Everyone's like, you guys are like the Black Kardashians. It was so fun, right? We fall out because of whatever reason. Family gets mad at each other. I don't know, just something stupid. You don't answer the phone or something. I don't know. And then we found out we were all pregnant at the same exact time. All of our babies were doing the same month, all of them.
Wow.
So we started to rekindle the relationship again because we're like, you know what, it must be meant for us to all get pregnant at the same time. Like, our kids are probably meant to grow up together. So that's what we're thinking. And then obviously after you have the baby, it's not like that. So we fell out again after the kids. Thinking, we just thought again. So at that moment, we officially stopped talking, and that's when I started writing my book because I was like, I'm sick of this. Like, I'm so tired of people I care about turning their back on me, especially my family. I was tired of it. So I started writing, and the one family member that smokes weed with me, that smokes weed, the only one that smokes weed is the one that likes me. She's my aunt. She's my dad's sister, and she read my book, and then she gave it, and of course she gave it to the family to read it as well. And at that moment, I was disowned from the family because of my lifestyle.
Wow.
Yes, my lifestyle, me being openly bisexual, because they're Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh.
So me being openly bisexual, they can, oh my God, they cannot be seen. They can even be seen talking to me.
Yes.
You know, that's kind of how it is. And so me being openly bi, me putting my personal business into a book, that's a no-no as well. Me putting my father on the forefront to show the world that he doesn't love me was a no-no. You know, we could have kept that to ourselves. You know, just like one of those things that they just felt like it was just so disrespectful. My cousin's like, my uncle is nothing like what you're saying, and I'm like, how would you know? Did you ever see me around? Where was I when you were in cheer practice, running track, having your parents give you the best go girl? Where was I? Juvenile.
Exactly.
You know, like, that's kind of how I felt. Don't tell me what my dad did for me. Like, he did nothing.
Exactly. It's just like, you can't judge me for taking my life back. I'm taking my life back, and you're being judgmental. But a lot of times, people are judgy because of things that they haven't overcome in their own life. And a lot of times, those people come around when they actually have the balls, for lack of a better word, to look at themselves in the mirror and be transparent about their life with themselves. A lot of times they're going through different things that they don't want to be open and transparent about, which everyone has their timeline. But that's one of the ways that I learned to cope with people and their emotions is like, your emotions belong to you. They don't belong to me. That's for you to deal with. However you feel about me is based on how you feel about yourself. Because if you can be open and excited and happy for me, That's your problem, not mine. Outside of religion, I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of times religion does influence a lot of
It makes
people and how they
yeah.
feel, you know, and different things like that. So that's just a totally different conversation. It would take forever, and
No.
we're not going to get
Yeah.
into that today. So are there any other women entrepreneurs that you look up to, or any women entrepreneurs that you watched on your way up to where you are now that you're like, you know what, I really like the way they do this, I really like the way they do that. That's a goal that I want to put on my list of things that I'd like to accomplish.
Oh, yes, most definitely. Because I never had any positive role models, everybody in around you is just like around you. They're in their day-to-day life. So Beyonce was my number one person, number
Mhm.
one. I love the way even though I know I can't sing, you know, and things like that, I just love how she carries herself. I love how she smiles and, like, she just is such a powerful woman. And, like, that's something I always admired about her. Oprah is the next person. I always look up to Oprah just because I'm like, she's a billionaire? What? Like, it was just
Exactly.
always like, she's the first black woman billionaire. Like, that's insane to me. I love it. I love
Mhm.
it. So that goes, like, just, and she doesn't have any kids. Like, she's just like, her legacy is her legacy without even being the kids. So I admired that about her. Like, she just took legacy to a whole nother level. And then Michelle Obama, obviously, love her and Barack. Like, that is
Yeah.
just a couple goals on a whole nother level. And then right now, there's many of female rappers that I absolutely love, but I don't even want to get into the list of that. But the main people right now is Mona Scott. Right now
Mhm.
it's Mona Scott because I'm writing so much, and I'm just
Mhm.
like understanding from a writer and director and producer standpoint of how difficult this is
Yeah.
and how much it takes and how much. And I'm like, wow, she did this and turned it into millions and millions of views. Like, that's
Mhm.
admirable. Like, I would love to have my show right next to her show on VH1. Like, that's
Mhm.
just something I admire about her. So those are my top, 5 for.
Yes, those are some amazing people. Beyonce's on my list too. I bought Michelle Obama's book, so definitely have some amazing people on your list. So I know that you talked about your book, Corporate Wife. So I was going to ask you, is there anything that you're working on right now? So Corporate Wife, is that the book that you're working on, or has it already been released?
So it's called American Wife, and it's
Oh,
part
American
2 to
Wife,
Corporate
yeah.
Stripper. Yep, it's part 2 to Corporate Stripper. And
Hmm.
yes, I'm not done yet. I have to finish the last 10 chapters. It's a 15-chapter book, and it's going to be a part 2 to American Wife because this is a 3-series book now. That's what I
Hmm.
decided to turn it into, because I was going to turn the second book, American Wife, into a 30-chapter book or a
Hmm.
35-chapter book, but I don't want to do that. So I really want it to be like I'm thinking of Harry Potter when I think of this because that's just my time frame. And I'm just like, I remember when Harry Potter, like, had these series of books. Like, I want my grandkids or my kids to, like, look on the shelf and, like, see a series of books, and they're just like, they get it. Like, so part 1, part 2, part 3. So that's why I'm doing that. So that's the current thing I'm doing. And I'm dropping that on October 16th. And I'm also dropping the audio version to Corporate Stripper on October 16th as well, just so people
Awesome.
can get caught up and listen to Corporate Stripper and they don't have to read it and then read American Wife. So those are
Yes.
the two books that I'm doing, and I'm doing a TV show. I just finished a web series, 4 episodes. It's a comedy. So it's just about my crazy life and what I do in Detroit and how we go about dealing with these celebrities and the other girls and, like, just crazy stuff that happens to us.
Yes.
Me and my friends. So it's a funny series. It's a web series, and that will be out this winter. That's when that will be launched, this winter. So I don't have a specific date. We're thinking like January
Hmm.
2022, but it's not official yet. But the recording is happening now.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that. I just love all the stuff that you're doing right now, especially
Thank
learning
you.
of all the things that you had to overcome to be the person that you are today. Like, listen, I know I
Thank
just
you.
met you today, but I'm already proud of you and all
Oh,
the things
thank
you've
you.
already accomplished, all the stuff you have coming up. I think it's so amazing. I can't wait to order the book. I can't wait to get the second book. I can't wait to watch the web. Listen, I want to be here forever, okay? I don't know about these
You
other people who left you, but
I'm
they
with
didn't.
this energy.
They did not realize how see. I'm with your husband. They didn't realize how dope you are. So, me and him, we're here.
You know what? I need to put a Zoom meeting together for us.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So tell everyone how they can follow you on social media. How can they find you? Tell them your website, how they can keep up with your web series. Give them all that information.
Yes, so you can find the book on corporatestripper.com, and that's where you can also find the audio version of the book that will be released October 16th, and Part 2, American Wife, will also be there October 16th, and we will have a deal going on that weekend when we launch those, so make sure you guys check out the website. And then for the actual web series where it's just, you just want to come and laugh and just, you know, you're having a bad day, you need to put on that YouTube and put on Detroit's Finest Baddies in the search bar. Subscribe, put on the notifications, because we're going to be doing a bunch of podcasts, but what most recently is the web series episodes, okay? These web series episodes, it's a bunch of beautiful, funny girls from Detroit and guys that's just about to be making y'all laugh at the edge of y'all seats, just showing y'all what we go through in Detroit, because it's crazy. These people is crazy here, y'all, okay?
Listen, I go to Detroit a lot, so I know you guys. That's why I say you guys are like a second Cleveland.
Yes.
I think it's the weather and the lakes that affect us. I think we have lake effect weather and lake effect attitudes. Like, that's what goes on in Cleveland and Detroit. But I really enjoyed talking to you today, and I am so happy that my team found you in the comment section on Instagram, and I'm so happy that you did this interview with me today. Like, thank you. Like, I learned way more than I thought I was going to learn. Like, this was amazing. I think you're a really awesome person. I love your personality, and I'm telling you right now, like, we've got to be friends, because Detroit is only 2 hours away. You're only 2 hours away. Don't make me drive to Detroit.
Yes. I love this. I love it. I'm serious. I love when I meet mompreneurs and you guys are just like really real mompreneurs. Like, you get it. I effing love it. Okay, seriously. So I'm going to email you my phone number or just message it to you off of here.
Okay, sounds good. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.